In this video we're going to be working on a spreadsheet that looks at the monthly car sales from a local Toyota business. So as you can see here, we've got a few salespeople that work for the business, Brian, Katrina, Eric and Beck, and they sold a number of cars. So there's all the different cars that they sold throughout the month. Next to it, they've just got their figures, so how many of each car they sold. Right down below here we've got the prices of each car. We're going to work out the total sales from each salesperson, how much commission they deserve, and if they're eligible for a bonus or not. Okay, so there's quite a bit to this spreadsheet. The questions that you need to answer today are just down the bottom here. We've got 10 questions. Okay, so let's start working through them one by one. The first question says we need to add a new column to the table that's called total sales. It says fill it out using the auto sum feature to show how many sales each person made for the month. Okay, so columns go up and down, so this way. Okay, so we might as well add this new column at the end of the table here, and it's going to be called total sales. Okay, inside total sales we need to add up how many cars each person sold and put the answer underneath total sales. Now instead of using the usual sum formula that we use, okay, we're going to do it a little bit quicker this time by using the auto sum feature. So what you need to do is you need to click in the first empty box under total sales, so that's J4. And up the top in your ribbon, you'll see this auto sum feature. You'll see this funny E shape here. Okay, if you click on that, it will guess what you want to add together, and it writes the formula for you. And most of the time, it's pretty accurate. As you can see here, it's straight away highlighted all the cars that Brian sold, put in the sum formula for us. All we need to do is just press enter. Pretty easy. Go down to the next box, press auto sum again, and you can see it's highlighted the correct information. So we'll press enter. Okay, now sometimes when you press auto sum, it highlights the wrong boxes. So as you can see in this case, we want Eric's total of cars added up, but instead it's trying to add the two numbers above it, which isn't right. So you just need to go across and highlight all of Eric's cars, just to tell Excel they're the numbers we want to add together. Okay, so press enter once you've got that. And in the last box, if we press auto sum, you'll need to just highlight all the cars that Beck sold as well. Press enter, and you've got all your total sales figures in there now. Okay, make sure you've used a formula for that. You'll see at the top here in the formula bar, the formula that adds them, all those numbers together. Okay, and that's what you will be marked on. So that's number one, all done. So the auto sum feature is a quick way to add numbers together. You just need to make sure that it is adding the right numbers together. Alright, so for number two, it says add a new row to the bottom of the table called total car sales. Fill it out using the auto sum feature to show how many of each car was sold during the month. So remember, rows go left and right. Okay, so in this row just here, we're going to write in total car sales. And in the next box, we basically want to add up all the Land Cruisers sold and put our answer below it here. So let's click on auto sum. It's highlighted the right information for us, so we can just press enter. Alright, let's try the Hilux now. Click auto sum. You can see that it is highlighting the right information for us. So I'm just going to keep going through, clicking auto sum and pressing tab to jump to the next box. Okay, so there we go. We've just added up all those figures for it. Looks quite good. So it looks like in total we sold 81 cars in the month that we're currently in. So we'll highlight question 2. It's all done. Number 3 says we need to format the table to make it look professional with color, borders, alignment, font sizes and cell sizes. So you can see here our alignment is all over the place. It's pretty difficult to read this table, so let's make it look a bit better. First up, the heading at the top, I'm going to make it bold, make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to highlight the whole way across my table to merge and center that heading. If you hover between the number 2 and 3 over here on the left side of your screen, you can pick up that cell and just drag it down and make it a bit bigger. Now I might put in a dark red color for the background and white for the text, just so it matches these other little tables that are already colored in. The subheadings here, so that's the total sales and the names of the cars. I'll make that bold, and I'll just choose a really light color to go there. I'm going to highlight the whole table now, and I'm going to play with the alignment. I'm going to get everything centered, I think. I'll have everything centered actually, except for this first column. I think it looks better left aligned. Everything else centered looks good. With everything highlighted still, we might go up to our little border window, whack in some borders. What I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight Beck's row here, and I'm going to put a special border on the bottom of that. Okay, if you go down, you can see bottom double border. It's like if I zoom in there, you'll see what's going on a bit clearer, but basically in that second last row underneath Beck, we've got two very skinny lines there close together, just showing that it's the end of our table basically, and the totals go in below it. What's something else we can do to this table? Probably colour in total car sales along the bottom here, just to show that it's separate from the other data. Let's pick another light colour. Probably make it bold as well. So that's got our table looking pretty good. I might just change the row height as well. So I'm going to start on the number 3 over here and drag down to the number 8. Right click and go to row height. I'll try 20 to start with. And I'll stick with that actually, that looks pretty good. So that's our table looking fairly good. So I might leave it like that. So that's number 3 all ticked off. Number 4. Says using a formula, fill out the middle mini table that shows the total sales for each person. So we've got these little mini tables just floating around down here, and the one we want to look at now is the total sales for each person. So how much worth of cars did each person sell for the month? Now this is quite a tedious formula that we're going to have to use here. It's an easy one, but it just takes a while because we've sold quite a few cars. So for Brian, what we need to do is we need to add up how many Land Cruisers, Hiluxes, Prados, Ravs, Klugers, Fortuners and CHRs that he sold, and we have to times them by the price that they are sold for. Okay, so bear with me on this. I might zoom in a little bit so you can see this a bit clearer. So for Brian, we always start a formula with an equal sign. Okay, and I'm going to use brackets. So in brackets, I'm going to click on the Land Cruiser cell and times it by the Land Cruiser price. Close that bracket. Then I'll plus. Open up another bracket. This time I'll click on the Hilux sales, and then I times it by the Hilux price. And then I'll close that bracket. I'll add on the Prados. Whoops, better put a bracket in first. So the Prados times how much we sold the Prados for. Close the bracket, plus it, open up another bracket. This time we've got the Ravs times the Rav price. Close the bracket, add on the Klugers. Whoops, not before I put on a bracket. Klugers times the Kluger price. Plus bracket. Click on the Fortuna sales and times it by the Fortuna price. Close the brackets, and then we do one final plus with a bracket. Click on the CHR, times it by the CHR price. Close it up. That's a big formula. Okay, just have a look at that carefully and make sure you've got something similar to that. If you do, press enter, and you can see that Brian sold about $1.2 million worth of cars for that month. I'll do Katrina's formula for you, and then I'm going to pause the video while I do the other two quickly, and then we'll carry on with the rest of the video. So quickly doing Katrina's now. We just put an equals sign in, open up a bracket, Land Cruiser times the Land Cruiser price. Close the bracket, plus the next one. It's going to be Hilux times Hilux price. Close the bracket. Add on the next one. Prado times Prado's price. Close the bracket. I'm going to do the RAV4 now. So yeah, very tedious this formula, but hopefully you get the idea of what's going on. So click on the Kluger price, Kluger sales for Katrina, times it by the actual price of the Kluger. Close the brackets. add on the next one, which is the Fortuna, and times it by the Fortuna price, close the brackets, and last of all we'll add on the CHR, times it by the CHR price, close the brackets, press enter. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea there. I'll just pause the video quickly now while I finish these last two. You don't need to watch them because you should have a good idea of what you're doing now. Alright, so welcome back to the video. I just quickly typed in the formulas there for the last two salespeople. So I've got Eric and Beck there. So you can see that they sold quite a fair bit of money in that month worth of cars. Alright, so that's the question 4, or finish. That's the long one. Okay, once it's out of the way, it's pretty smooth sailing from here. Question 5 says, using a formula, fill out the second last mini table that shows how much commission each person will earn for the month. Okay, so over here we've got this little mini table to fill out. Zooming back in, you can see in this box here, every salesperson gets a commission of 2%. Okay, so each time they sell a car, they get a 2% cut. Okay, so to work that out, we just basically go over to this box here next to Brian where we've got commission earned. We're right in the equals sign. And where we've got total sales, we click on that first and then times it by the 2%. Press enter. And you can see that Brian earned himself $24,000 in commission. Okay, so that's quite a big commission. He's done very well for himself. Katrina, looks like she's done even better. So equals total sales times her commission. $28,000 commission. Okay, Eric, he didn't do as well, so he times his total sales by the 2%. You get $13,000. And the last one for Beck equals, click on her total sales, times it by the 2%. And she gets about $22,000 in her commission. Alright, so that's our commission done. We'll scroll down and tick off number 5. All good. Number 6 tells us, using the max formula, determine who made the most amount of sales for the month. Write the formula here. Write your answer there. Okay, there's a few ways we could do this, but the way I'm going to do it is just basically look through the total sales column here using the max formula, work out who's got the highest number, and then write the answer in. Okay, so I'll just click in this first grey box, and then we'll write equals max, open up our brackets, and highlight the total sales. We'll then close our bracket and press enter, and it tells us now 26 was the highest number of sales for the month. So we go down here, find 26, we go across, it was Katrina that had the most amount of sales, so we write in Katrina in the box on the right. Number 7, oops, I'll tick off number 6 first. Number 7 says, using the min formula, determine who made the least amount of sales for the month, and write our formula there. So it's the same as before, just changing the word from max to min. So equals min, open up our bracket, highlight the total sales here, and then we close our bracket, press enter. So 15 was the least amount of cars sold for the month. Who got 15? It was Eric. So in the box on the right, just write Eric's name in. And that's number 7, all finished. Number 8 says, if a car salesperson made more than 20 car sales for the month, then they're eligible for a $1,000 bonus. So using an if function, complete the mini table on the right to see who's eligible for the bonus. Okay, so we've got this last little mini table over here that we need to fill out. So clicking next to Brian, we're going to create an if function to work out if he's eligible or not for a bonus. So we need to write equals if, and then we open up a bracket, and then we click on his total sales. So if J4 is greater than 20, that means if he's made more than 20 sales, then we put a comma, and in quotation marks, we write yes, which means it's true. So that means yes, he's eligible for a bonus. But if he's not over 20, then we need to put a comma, and in quotation marks, we write no. Okay, and we'll just close our brackets off there, and press enter. You can see that yes, he's eligible for a bonus. Just double click on that formula again so you can see it. So if J4 is greater than 20, so if this number here is greater than 20, yes, he's eligible for a bonus. And if he's not eligible for a bonus, so if this little section here is not true, then we just display the word no. Okay, so let's do the next one for Katrina. So you write equals if, open up a bracket, if Katrina's sales, so click on the sales that Katrina made, if J5 is greater than 20, put a comma. So if that is true, we write yes, she is eligible for a bonus. But if it's not true, if she's made less than 20 sales, we need to put a comma and write no in quotation marks. Close your bracket at the end and press enter. So Katrina is eligible for a bonus because she sold more than 20 cars. Okay, it's quite easy to see up here as well. Now for Eric, we write equals if, open up our bracket, and we test Eric's total sales here. So if J6 is greater than 20, put a comma and write yes in quotation marks, which means yes, he's eligible. Otherwise, if he's got less than 20 sales, we put a comma and write no in the quotation marks. Close the bracket at the end, press enter, and you can see that no, Eric is not eligible for our bonus. Finally, we've got Beck here, so let's write equals if, open up our bracket and click on Beck's sales. Okay, and if J7 is greater than 20, so if she's sold more than 20 cars, put a comma and in quotation marks say yes. Otherwise, we put a comma and we write no. Okay, so you got your little test just here, and after it, if that test is true, you display that. If it's false, display that. Okay, and let's see, Beck is not eligible for the bonus. I'll just highlight that text and center it. Alright, so we've got two of our salespeople going really well. They get a bonus. Two of them just need to pick up their game a little bit so they can get themselves a bonus as well. So let's tick off number 8. Number 9 says we need to create a column chart to show the total number of sales from each person. Okay, so that should be fairly easy. Let's highlight each person. Let's highlight the total sales. Remember to hold down Control on your keyboard when you're selecting two separate columns. So I wouldn't hold Control yet, I'd just highlight the names. Then I would push down on Control on your keyboard and then highlight the total sales numbers. Just the 4 numbers there that match up with the 4 names. We go up to Insert and we look for the little chart that looks like a column chart, the one that goes up and down. And we click on the first one. Now it comes out right on top of everything there, so feel free to move it to the side or down below. I might just push it up to the side here. Give it a title. I'll just write total sales. If you want, you can change the colours up a bit. You can change the look of it if you'd like. Okay, any of these will be fine. Doesn't really matter. I might just roll with that one. And feel free to put in some axis titles as well. So while you've got your chart selected, go to the Design tab up the top here and add a chart element. And you want the second option here, the axis titles. The horizontal one that goes along the bottom should say something like salesperson. And if we add in another chart element and do the primary vertical axis title, we'll just write number of cars sold. That's a pretty good looking column chart. Okay, so we can tick off that second last question, number 9 there. It's all done. The final one says create a bar chart to show the total number of each car sold. Okay, so we want to highlight the names of the cars this time. Hold down Control on your keyboard and just highlight the numbers that correspond with those car names. So from 16 across to 8. Once you've got those all selected, go to the Insert tab. We're looking for a bar chart this time, so the ones that run horizontally. Just click on that. Again, you might have to zoom out a little bit and move it over to the side. We can zoom back in on it. And we'll give it a title. So, total cars sold. If you want, change the colours. And we'll add in some axis titles. So let's add the one down the bottom first of all. So the horizontal axis is total cars sold. That's good. And we'll add in one more axis title for the vertical. and it's just the type of car. Alright, so there's our column and our bar charts. I'll just make this heading bold. There we go. So they look really good. If you wanted to, you could click on that bar chart, and like we did with the column chart, you could pick something a little bit different that stands out. That black one looks pretty cool actually, so I might roll with that. Alright, so I'll go across and tick off number 10. And that looks like it's it. Okay, so we've got our table of data done for our monthly car sales at Toyota. You can see who's eligible for bonuses and who isn't. See how much commission each of our salespeople earned, how much they sold all up, and how many of each car we actually sold as well. So it's quite a useful spreadsheet. Alright, so save that up when you're done, and I'll see you in the next video.